Very good morning. This is Arunava Chaudhuri. You're live on my YouTube channel, Arunfoot, and it's the second game for the India under 20 women's national team. They face mighty Australia, and let's wait and see what the team of Joachim Alexandersson can do. Hello and welcome, Aman. Good morning to those of you here in Europe, or good afternoon for those of you in India and Asia. And let's go quickly through the lineup. In goal, Mona Lisa, Toibi, Sana, Pooja, Sibani, Ningdekaim, Bhumika, Remy, Shubhangi, again, once more, captain, Anju, Sulanjana, and Cindy in that team. And the match starts in about a minute. So both the teams are ready on all the field. And interested to see what India does against Australia, who, of course, are a tough opponent for the young Tigresses of the AIFF. So therefore, will be interesting to see what can they do in this game, which, of course, once more is being held at the Pathum Thani Stadium in Pathum Thani in Thailand as India have kickoff. India playing from right to left in their blue home kit, Australia in black. Australia, of course, like to press. Australia like to, yeah. The match just started. So 2:30 p.m. Indian time, Aman, the match started. So therefore, will be interesting to see what India does in this game early on, as the Aussies will look to, press India and try to see what they can get out of the game early on. And India's aim surely will have to be to avoid conceding early, as the Aussies are playing the goalkeeper quite far out of a goal, plays it to the left. And that's going to be an interesting observation, at least to me, how the Aussies are playing, trying to build up from the back. They are looking, India steal the ball, but lose it. Sulanjana, important, who has a certain level of experience, of course. Foul not given by the referee. India clear their lines. Back with the Aussie keeper. Interesting to see how India play. Do they do the same way as they did against Japan? Joachim Alexandersson, who's done a very good job, in my opinion, with our India teams, be it the under 17s, be it the under 20s, as the Aussies, as expected, try and take charge of that midfield. Australia play through space in the middle. India clear their lines, but Australia have the ball back. Ball into the striking zone, but Mona Lisa has the ball. Alex Epakis, the head coach of the Australian women's team. Australia already visible after 3.5 minutes. More with the ball. India need to ensure that they avoid Australia playing around with the ball too much, getting their opportunities and chances. That will be the tough one for India to avoid. Australia scoring a 5-0 in their opener against Chinese Taipei. India losing 6-0 to Japan. Sulanjana Raut. The winger of East Bengal on the left in the box. India still with the ball, but Australia clear. Anibal, if you see, I would think that Japan would be a little better than Australia, even though, of course, Japan is, their football is better than Australia. Australia is a bit, I would say, a little bit more direct from the little that I have seen. So therefore, that would be an interesting thing to see how these two teams play. India trying to play football at the back. Have to be careful. Remy. Ball forward. India on the right. Ball into the box. And cleared by Sullivan. Australia can quickly cover ground. India needs to be careful of that. Dispossessed. But the ball back with the Aussies. India need to be careful. India need to be alert. Australia in the back line. I am from Meghalaya, Shillong. Today I share about Kanu Football Stadium, Meghalaya, one of the biggest football stadium in the country, even South Asia. This is only one in India. Thanks, yeah, saw it. Sorry, I didn't reply. Was a little busy this morning. Yeah, it will be. It's not ready yet, but the plans look great, and let's hope that that works out. Ooh, foul. Play on, says the referee. Australia, can they keep it in? No. That was Trimis. India defensive on the left. Have to be careful. Sulanjana under pressure. Loses the ball to Bertolicio. But India win the ball now in the middle. Good pass to Sulanjana. Sulanjana on the left. Cuts in. Loses the ball too easily. But India win the ball back. Lakim has done the same thing as this team. But yeah, Hannibal has done really well. But again, all of that doesn't count if he doesn't get a result today. And that is Sivani with an attempt for India. Advantage for India is that the longer it stays goalless, the more likely India is going to get chances in this game. Maybe Australia get nervous. And then the football as a sport is crazy in these kind of things. You never know what can happen. Australia back with their keeper, Melek. Looking potential to play long. Yeah, plays it to the left. Australia combined nicely. Australia beat the Indian defense on the left. Ball into the center, but cleared. Cleared by Cindy. Cindy regarded as one of our top young Indian players. Australia quickly taking corner. Shot attempt, but over and wide. We need more football stadium across India because they're going to cricket stadium more and more. Yeah, that's very, very true. And more cricket stadiums are built across. And of course, Australia have an Indian origin girl in Prakash. Something we shouldn't forget. India with the ball. Mani Prakash wins it for Australia. Australia building up. Played out to the left. Australia on the left. Beat India on the edge of the box, and India jointly win the ball back. But again, Australia with the ball. Need to be careful. And that is gonna go out. Lucky for India. Buttress had beaten her marker on that left wing. Yeah, India need to avoid giving the Aussies those opportunities. Australia again build up from the back. Looking to play. Oh, that opens up gap in the middle. Good interception by India. India building up. Ball to Sulanjana. It's very difficult to see the numbers with that shade coming through because of that stand, and then the gaps in it. India nicely played from left to right, but are under pressure. Need to play back to the back line. Yeah, you can't lose the ball now. Oh, do it nicely, India. Referee allows play on, despite an Aussie player going down, but Australia win the ball back. Aussie. Yeah, that's a little difficult today, I can tell you. Just for me to recognize, it's a little difficult at the moment. The numbers on the jerseys. Australia play through once again. That's a nice ball out to the wing. And good defending by India. Chalanjana with a little bit of space. Maybe a one-on-one. Little over ambitious. No chance for Ling Dai Kim to get it. Australia calmly, quietly at the back. Play it on the right. Australia gets thrown back as their keeper. Malek, who likes to venture out. She's about 10 yards off the middle 13.5 minutes on the clock. It's goalless between India and Australia in their second group encounter in the AFC Under-20 Championships. And that's a good through ball for Australia on the right. Good save by India. Mona Lisa, very important. And India alert in the middle. Could have been a good chance for the Aussies, who are making India run. Something that happened against Japan as well. India did very well in the first half. But then Japan outmaneuvered India. Ball into the middle. Cleared by India. The Aussies are back. Yeah, India now have to clear their lines. Nicely done by India. Have to look. Australia back with the ball. Dundas. Back to Sullivan. Back to keeper Melek. Plays it to other centre back. Australia try and play a through ball. India win it. Maybe a chance for India to break. No. Aussies have the ball back. Keep the ball. And play it back to their back line. Will rebuild from the left to the right. Trimis. And Sulanjana gets the ball out of the way against Halmarik. Throw in for the Aussies. Oh, that's dangerous. Ball stays in and doesn't go in. Now for India, a little bit of space on the right. Shubhangi doesn't get it to Sulanjana. Ball again with India. India lose it. The referee has a... Does she give a foul in the end? Foul against Bhumika. Yeah, there's surely contact. Doesn't seem to be that's given as a foul. Against Dundas. Yeah, it is free kick for India. Referee allowed advantage and then blew the whistle. Free kick for India, about 35 yards out. Anju Chanu looking to take it. Will she go direct? Looks like it. And that's a good attempt. Just over. Anju Chanu with the first chance for India in the 18th minute. A long-range free kick. Just goes over. Nice curl on the ball. And keeper Melek didn't have to intervene. But that's an opportunity, of course, in women's football. Keepers often smaller than in the men's game. Australia win the ball back. Australia in the back line. 18 plus minutes on the clock. It's still goalless between India and Australia in the Under-20 Asian Cup. In the Under-20 Women's Asian Cup. Oh, little too quick by the Aussies. Throw in India. Surely a special game for Avani Prakash, who plays in the academy, or actually not academy, plays for the Central Coast Mariners. Special game for the 19-year-old Indian origin girl. That's a foul from Bertolissio against Sulanjana. 2 fouls by the Aussies so far, none by the India. Very fair game of football. Now the Australians with a little bit of space. Played out to the right. Trimis plays it back to her. Right back. Sullivan. Bertolissio plays it through. India block well in the middle, but then the foul given. McMahon. Yeah, it's Cindy Colony with the foul in the end. Even though Bhumika and Anju are also involved. Could be the first real danger from the Aussies. Mona Lisa has to be alert. It looks like Trimis standing over the ball. That goes and goes. Okay. Lucky India. Ball goes in. Goal not given. Free kick to be taken again. Ooh, lucky India, looks like. Discussions. Apostolakis having a word as well, the captain. Okay. Free kick for India, it seems like. Yeah, free kick for India. An Australian player was in the wall, which is, of course, not allowed. And India get a get out of jail card. So as I said earlier, also with the Indian free kick, these free kicks in women's football are worth a lot because keepers being shorter, not being that alert, creates that opportunity. It's still goalless. But the Australians now know they'll try and buy the one or the other free kick in that danger zone. India need to be careful. Try and build up from the left to the right. These mistakes in the build-up are dangerous. Long clearance by India. And throw in for India on the right in the Aussie half. Dundas committed that. Remy Thokcham to take it. India with the ball. Bring it to the back line. Idea to play it to the right throw in Australia. 23 plus minutes on the clock. Trimis plays it forward on the right. Oh, that's a chance for the Aussies to break. Prakash plays it through. But Mona Lisa has it. Sulanjana, ball went out, in my opinion. Referee says player in. Referee. And the Aussies clear their lines throw in India. No nonsense by Bortolissio. Solid defending by the right back. Australia win the ball back. Now they're physically stronger and they're making it use, but Helmerick being told off by the referee. "24.5 minutes on the clock. Goalless in Thailand." India with the ball. Fabisana, Monanisha, Cindy. Cindy, it was a little too risky, giving a chance for the Aussies to attack. The Aussies on the edge of the box. Oh, Cindy does very well to win the ball back. Cindy Colney. India with the long ball forward. Was nearly got through. Net captain Apostolakis heads it out for a throw-in. It's hot, it's humid. Maybe that might be an advantage for the Indian girls. And a throw-in for India on the right. India building up. It's another foul by the Australians on Sulanjana. Again, Bortolissio, the right back, against the Indian left winger. Free kick. Anju to take it, to play it goalwards. Height is a disadvantage for the Indians, of course, against this Australian team. Anju plays it into the danger zone, headed out by the Aussies, and will be a throw-in, I guess. No. India keep the ball in play, but Australia win the ball. Now a chance to counter-attack potentially for the Aussies. Oh, careful. Australia on the edge of the box, in the box, Australia. And that's good defending by India. Ooh. Okay. Goes down, but no foul given. India now with the chance to counter. But Australia clear their lines. Tundas. And if we're having a word, let's see that again. What was the problem? Okay, Prakash in the wall. Okay. Was she a meter not away from the wall? Oh, interesting. Only Prakash thought, as an OCI, let me help the Indian wall for once. Looked awkward. The Australians, oh, that's a foul. Prakash is Indian agent, they say. Anyway, yeah. Stood in the wall for India, not against India. So we can thank Prakash that we're not one goal down. That goal would have gone in if she stood there or not stood there. That's sometimes it's like, why do you do that? Pushing, shoving in the box, standing in the wall, long ball forward. Prakash can't control it. Cleared by India. Sulanjana, but cleared by Apostolakis. Second charge. What do you mean by broadcasting quality by fan code? Good or bad? And after 29 minutes, it's the so-called cooling break. It's not called the drinks break in that part of the world. Second charge. You mean it's good or is it bad? And for India, after nearly 30 minutes, that's a good result to keep the Aussies under check because they can play football. Aussies who scored in the 24th, 44th, 50th, 53rd, 61st minute against Chinese Taipei, while Japan had scored against India, Troibisana with an own goal in the first half, and then goals in the 54th, 57th, 75th, 81st, 87th. So a lot of goals across that second half. So that will be the challenge for India. And it's not been one-sided, as some of the others might have expected. 1080p looks like 360p no commentary. It will be the same feed as AFC. I don't know why you don't have commentary, but the AFC feed is very, very good. 1 second, what is the quality? Actually, it's 480p here, but to me it looks more than fine. For me, the more disturbing thing is the sun, which is in the way. India need to be careful, need to avoid giving the Aussies opportunities to score, giving them chances to put pressure on the Indian goal. Small little things, but very important in such a game of football. And cooling break over. Throw in for Australia. Or the referee always wants to be strict, but I don't know. Sometimes a little confusing to me. I don't know. Might be wrong. And as India build up at the back, Shindy. India trying to win the ball back. Have it now. Yeah, slips away. Is it in the middle? And that will be a throw in for the Aussies. Apostolakis wins it against Puja. The Aussies build up. Long ball for Prakash. Prakash in the box. And let's see. Gets to the ball. But that isn't a foul, I would say. No, got the shot off. Of course, Bhumika and Mona Lisa and her clash, but that was a good through ball for the attacker. Cindy Nice build up by India in the middle. But Bhumika has to be careful. Yeah. Tobasana, Sulanjana, and blocked by Bortolisio. India playing out. Throw in for India on the left. Shubhangi. Another throw in for India, or Prakash. Cleared by Shubhangi. The two number 16s clash. Oh, very important. By Shubhangi to clear. Another throw in for the Aussies. Prakash. Wants a foul, not given. Throw in for India. Avani Prakash, quite a bit involved in the action in the game. India need to clear their lines. Ball back to keeper Malik. And India doesn't press. Gives the Aussie space to rebuild. Bortolesio. Trimis. Prakash. Oh, that was physical from Lingde Kim. Or Kim as she has on her shirt, sorry. Sullivan. Buttress. Australia on the left. Play their way through on the left wing. And, ooh. And she's given a penalty. Buttress on the left works her way through into the penalty box. Let's see there again. Beats two players, then a third. And Cindy leaves her foot out. Oh, yeah, that's clear contact. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. There is no doubt about it. That's a penalty. Buttress does well to get past her. There is contact, and you don't need more. And leg on leg, that hurts. Penalty for Australia in the 37th minute. Yeah. India could have taken the goalless draw into the break. They still can. It's now on keeper Mona Lisa to either save or Australia to not score. And they do. Australia ahead. It's their striker, Halmerick, with the goal for the Aussies. India played well so far, but that was too easy, that penalty. Halmerick sends Mona Lisa the wrong way. Yeah. If Mona Lisa goes the other way, she actually could have had a chance. But that isn't to be. As Sky Halmerick, the 18-year-old from Sydney FC, gives the Aussie a lead. And now India need to try and get back in this game. Never easy, but that will now be the challenge for India. Can they get something out of this guy, Prakash? Australia keep the ball in, play it nicely on that right wing. Trimis into the danger zone, and it's 2-0 Australia. Within 1 minute, Halmerick with a second. It's India 0, Australia 2. And I don't even think it was 2 minutes. What was even a minute? And is this game set and match for the young Aussies? Good play on the right. Trimis not being challenged by Shubhangi. And Cindy Colney can't contain the striker. And it's 2 for Australia. It's sad because India has played actually good. Hasn't given the Aussies too many chances. Except, that free kick which went in, but wasn't given as a goal. And now it's an uphill task. And the question, of course, in this tournament also is about goals. What can India do? Australia build up. That ball comes across. Bortolesio. And Hamrick nearly already 4 goals in the competition. Club have just opened. It's now only about damage control. Yeah? Simon, I agree with you. Don't get thrashed 6-0 again. That's the problem. When we concede, how can we get back in these kind of games? What can we get back in these kind of games? Going to be the challenge now for India. And a reminder, those of you who are watching, if you're liking this watch along, if you're liking content on the channel, always do leave a like behind, hype it, share it. And if you haven't, please subscribe. We stand at 4,037. And the Aussies win it back. Bartolesio, Trimis, Sullivan back to a keeper, Melek. Just looking, Australia are looking, playing football now. And the referee again gives a free kick. A little further away, foul from Anju, it looks like. It was McHone. Oh. McMahon. I hope not. Oh, that free kick goes over this time around by Trimis. India need to be careful not to concede. And the stats are very, very clear. Shots on target, 2 by Australia. India, none. And it's 0-2. Mona Lisa clears the lines to the Aussies. But India have the ball now for once. Ball out to Sulanjana. Sulanjana beats. Sulanjana plays it wide. And Lingde Kim into the arms of Melek. Aussie keeper plays it long, but cleared by India. And someone came out of an offside position for the girls in blue. It was Sivani Nongmai Kapam, India's number 10. Difficult job up front as a striker. It's a lonely life. Bortolesio plays it back to Sullivan. Back to Malay. Back to Sullivan. Plays it out to the right. There is space for Trimis. Plays it back to Bortolesio. Bortolesio, sorry. Prakash. Kruger blocked. Prakash. And foul given against Trimis. Morally, expectations. Be honest, I always say in these kind of games, 3 to 5 is always possible for an Australian team. And yeah, at the moment it looks difficult because we conceded 2 goals in less than a minute. And the longer the game lasts, it will be tiring for India because they have to run a lot, trying to cover ground. Australia using the width of the pitch. They're physically stronger. They're bigger. They're fitter. So all these things are factors and it becomes dangerous. Therefore, I said that the other day also after the Japan game, people praise that 0-1. Yeah, that's great. But what's the final outcome? You know, because if we're not getting any chances. So even if you concede 1 or 2, like in this case, or against Japan, where are your goals going to come from? Australia win the ball back, ball out to Trimis, and will she keep it in? No, she won't. Throw in for India on the left. 4 minutes of added time. Couldn't get her leg up fully. Ball rolled over. Throw in India. Tolbisana. Cindy. Remy. That ball goes out. Throw in Australia. Yeah, that's becoming now a long half for India at the moment. Difficult, I know. For the girls. You have to keep it together in these final 2 minutes of added time. Prakash, that's a good ball in. Lucky that header didn't come on the goal. So Australia still with the ball. Remy against Botras. Only a goal kick for India. Now, women's team only plays few minutes of the game. Our team suddenly loses the mind and makes blunders, then concede penalty and next goal. Kumar, this kind of football for us, this level of football, as we see Prakash beating Bhumika, is too high. It's too fast. They're physically strong. Australia, careful. Trimis. Ooh. There was 2 fouls. But referee allows play on. Australia has the ball back. Mortolicio. Shumangi back to a keeper. Monalisha takes no chances, plays long. Kumar, the problem, in my opinion, is very simple. These teams are stronger, way stronger than us. You see the basics. Oh, mistake. India, careful, have to be clearing their lines. Shumangi, high. And at some stage, we can't sustain the pressure. And That's another foul on Buttress. And yeah, then we make mistakes. Football, foul from Bhumika. Football is a game where you make mistakes. Right? It's either individual brilliance or mistakes. You know, I started watching 30 minutes and I started playing a few minutes, and boom, goal after goal. Yeah, Kumar, but goal after goal happens. And again, if you're defending deep, trying to avoid conceding goals, because we don't have an outlet up front, right? So these teams are always 5, 6 goals better than us. We're already more than 4 minutes in added time of the first session. Remy received a yellow card. India clear. Will the referee now play on? Yeah, she does or no? It's halftime in Thailand and the Pathum Thani Stadium. It's India nil, Australia 2. India held their ground for most of the first half, but then Cindy Colney with the foul on Buttress. Penalty Australia. Hamerick scores, and within less than a minute, Trimis sets up Hamerick again, and she scores in the 38th and 39th minute to give Australia convincing 2-0 lead. India with one real opportunity, a free kick from Anju Chanu, which just went over the crossbar. And as we see, a beautiful shot of the stadium. Lovely venue. This kind of venue we don't have in India, sadly. Right? Empty as has been usual in this competition at under 20 women's level in Asia. I was just looking at the stats. We've had even matches, including Thailand, had a few hundred only. So yeah, difficult one for India so far. I don't know what you guys think. Played okay here and there, but at the end of the day, I guess the quality of the Aussies showed, and they were just the better of the two teams. And now for India, it's avoiding really a heavy defeat. The main game is against Chinese Taipei, and not to. It's going to be important because goals could be a factor. Uzbekistan currently third in Group B with a -2 goal difference. Bangladesh are third in Group A, but only with a -3, sorry, goal difference. Bangladesh losing 3-2 to Thailand. Thailand were 0-2 down against Bangladesh, but then won 3-2. And then lost 0-2 only to China. So therefore, Bangladesh and Uzbekistan in a better position than India and Chinese Taipei. So will be very important goals. And if India gets a beating again, let's see. I bought pass from the fan code, even though I know the levels of distance between sky and land. I thought they will not make silly mistakes, but they make those match after match. Kumar, as I said, you call them silly mistakes. Those are forced mistakes. You call them silly mistakes, but that penalty to give away, again, a foot can be stuck out, can happen, shouldn't happen, does happen. Again, as I said, if you are under constant pressure for 90 plus minutes, you will make mistakes. And the question is, can you keep your number of mistakes low? And is the opponent not alert enough to create something out of those mistakes? That's the big problem. Sorry, let me get up once. So that's the challenge that India faces at the moment is, can you avoid the number of mistakes in this game so that your opponent doesn't score easily? So that's the challenge, in my opinion, for India. And today you're seeing that Australia much more physical. They're stronger, they're better in their basics, and that makes it close to difficult for India to try and get something out of this game. And that is, yeah, that's a challenge. That's a huge challenge at the moment for India to try and get something out of this game. And yeah, that's doesn't make it easier for them. Makes it tough for them, in my opinion. And that has to be honestly, um, and these are things in football which I don't think we can get out of the Indian system. That's the challenge. I think getting these things out of the Indian system. How do you get it out of the Indian system? Is there a chance, an opportunity to get these mistakes out of the system so that the Indian girls or the boys are better in their games? We saw that also in the men's game against Bangladesh. My concern is if you look at Bangladesh at youth level, men's and women's, that their basics are better than ours. And that is the question then has to be asked is, are the coaches in Bangladesh actually better than us at this moment in time? That their basics, football basics, their football understanding, their, sometimes even their tactical awareness, their technicality seems to be better. And that is, again, and we're playing Japan, Australia, who are amongst the best in the women's game in the world, right? So therefore, that question doesn't arise to me. So in my opinion, that's the biggest challenge at the moment. Sorry, that's the biggest challenge at the moment is for our football. If we want to move forward, we need more coaches like Joachim Alexandersson who works on things. But Joachim can work only on certain things, and he will not overall make it better. This is rudimentary, and you cannot change it overnight. If this doesn't bring the obvious, then what does? Simon, exactly my point. But are we working on those things? I don't think we are. Right. So that is my concern at the end of the day, that we talk on this platform about these things, right? What are the problems? What are the issues in Indian football? What needs to change? But they're not changing, right? We hype things. It's like hyping the under 23s, hyping the under 17s, hyping this whole Minerva thing going to the mid cup, rather than looking at the problems and issues as, hey guys, you know what? Our football has fundamental flaws, and we need to work on those fundamental flaws. If we don't work on those fundamental flaws, this conversation that we've been having on this channel over the last 2-3 years will continue for the next 10, 15, 20 years. And everyone around us seems to be developing. We are not. So for India, it's fundamental. And the structures need to be created for boys and girls. And therefore that's to me a very big problem. So I think coaching playing important role in Bangladesh, important in youth level, their basics. Anup, I feel that, right? Having watched now our under 20s play against Bangladesh twice. Um, Again, luckily they're not good with their finishing. That's one lucky thing. But I like the gameplay better than ours, right? And then to blame a Mahesh Goli or Bibiano or Naushad Musa and say, hey, listen, this, that, and everything. It's difficult because if the kids don't learn the right things at the right age, how are we going to change those things and how are we going to make them better? That is my concern with Indian football at this moment going forward, because we're not doing what is needed to make our kids better footballers. You know, Joachim cannot teach basics at that level of U20 level. Instead of Joachim, we need lads like him at grassroots and youth development. No, Kumar, we don't need him. So see, that's your problem. Joachim Alexandersson is someone who is a top level youth coach at national team level. We need grassroots coaches. So for me, um, he's not a grassroots coach. So our thing is we need to educate our grassroots coaches and also get away from winning matches and tournaments, right? So therefore, for me, that needs to be looked at, right? This, of course, you need to create a winning mentality. But my question is always, if you look at a kid who's 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, can that kid become a professional footballer down the road? No. Then why focus on it, right? Of course, you'll have late bloomers, but your focus should always be is thinking, can this kid at 18, 20, 22 be a professional footballer at the top level, right? So that's the problem. How was the first half? I mean, it was okay. Australia had, as expected, more of the ball. Australia controlled proceedings, didn't have much chances. Both the teams had good chances from free kicks. And so therefore, then a foul from Cindy Colney against Buttress and penalty. Hamerick scores, and then Hamerick, in less than a minute, scores a second off a cross from Trimis. And that was sort of, it feels like game, set, and match. So, yeah, they were very near to beat Thailand 3-2. Yeah, I know. They were leading 2-0, right? And yeah. So, therefore, we need to work on the basics. If you're a lecturer, you should be automatically able to teach maths or school level. That is my analogy. Kumar, and exactly that is wrong, right? In sports, you could be the best coach at senior level. You could be a very good coach at youth level. You might be pathetic at grassroots. See, this is in theory, Kumar, what you're saying is right. In practicality, in sports, it's not true, right? There are exceptions, but you need guys who are specialized. In India, also logic is, a former footballer knows football. Rubbish, right? I'd be arrogant enough to say, what? I don't need a coaching license. I don't need to be an ex-footballer. I know what football is, right? That's what a lot of people will say. But you have to understand how to work on, develop talent. And some of the best youth and grassroots coaches I've seen in India were never top-level footballers, for example, right? Are not good educators, or might not have been. So therefore, we need guys to understand all these things and then work towards these things to develop and evolve. And that's the big challenge for Indian football, in my opinion. Big challenge. There is no simple solution to our issues and problems, and that will not get better as well. And for India, um, it's a long way. It's a long way for us, and there is no short-term solution to these things. Someone said, even people have asked on these lives, or in our Indian football, and more discussions. Um, if we work properly, this and that and everything, what will happen? My concern is, yeah, if we work on the right things today, tomorrow, with India being India, we're not Japan, we're not a Korea. Germany needed, in 2000, Germany realized its problems, structural issues. It needed a decade to sort it out, right? Is India ready to realize that we have these problems? Now, if we recognize and realize those, then to me, we need most probably 2-3 decades to sort out our grassroots and youth. And we go back, right, which you say, why don't people invest in grassroots and youth? Who's going to wait 20, 30 years? I don't even know if I'll have an Indian Super League in the summer. So, yeah. I hope Bangladesh qualify third place, best team in knockout. I wish them that, right? And again, whatever other people say, for South Asian football, if it's not us, at least another team is successful. That's good for South Asia and its football. And now we should bring and update specialized foreign coaches to teach and educate our Indian grassroots coaches or any other path, and this to educate current coaches, because our coaching education system is flawed. Our coaching education system is not flawed, Kumar. Our coaching education system is actually good. But you mentioned a point, which is the flaw. The educators, right? I know, and I've said this to people in the AIFF, that people who've been running the AIFF coaching department, they're not good enough, right? Nice guys, no blame, but they're not good enough. And these guys amongst themselves push around, I say this is good. No, they're not good. They are bad. But who is going to call it out? As you say, and whenever a foreign technical director comes in, the Indian system works towards not allowing him to work, because the first thing the foreign technical director does, be it Rob Barn, or be it, for example, Isaac Duro also. Isaac Duro was hated because Isaac Duro pointed out the flaws in the mistakes in the system. These guys say, no, we're good, we're fine, right? We're following the AFC pathway and all. In theory, we are following it. right? In theory, again, and that's why when we get awards, oh, grassroots this, grassroots that, or good coaching education is good. In theory, it's good because we're creating the numbers. But I had this discussion in 2014 when I was in Mumbai City with Henry Menezes, who was the CEO of the Western India Football Association, the parent body of Maharashtra football. Henry wanted to create 5,000 de-licensed coaches in Maharashtra. I said, yeah, 5,000 coaches in Maharashtra, actually not a lot. But how we're ensuring that you are producing quality coaches? How do we know? Right. So for me, that's the thing, right? Quality grassroots coaches, quality youth coaches. Look at our teams. We cannot play football. We are trying to avoid to play football, right? That's how a Khalid Jamil can become Indian national team coach. Looks like Shruti is coming on for the second half. So that's your challenge. Shubhangi is off. Cindy takes over as captain. So therefore, in India, criticizing is not allowed. Yeah, Anup, criticizing is not allowed. In India, they don't like introspections. They don't like taking accountability. And as long as that, again, the mentality needs to change. I hate Bangladesh because of what they're doing against India, but they're doing better coaching than India and other than the neighbors. That is when we should appreciate. Kumar hated for this or that. Again, I'm not going to get, you know, into that conversation with someone's good work. Right. Someone else will tell you something else. So therefore, let's keep that parted out. I only talk about the football part, and therefore they've done good even in the time of Sheikh Hasina, who has personally pushed women's football in Bangladesh. Right. So reality. Right. We are at the moment. Where are our Aditi Chauhans? Where are our Dalema Chibbers? Where is a Bala Devi? Where is a Bemban Devi? The same problem we've had in the men's game as the second half has restarted. We're facing the same problems in the women's game as we faced in the men's or facing in the men's, right? And I love the people who then blame the ISL for everything. The ISL has to take its blame, but this is a question. Hey, you've been around for 15 years. Ask this question to Ranjit and say, Ranjit, what have you produced in the last 15 years? Any coaching regulation can be changed realistically and pragmatic. Yes. With the right people in charge, it can easily be changed. But it has to have the will of the coaches also, no? India in the Aussie half. The Aussies clear. Their lines. Remy. India lose the ball. Win it back. India want to play football. Americ, double goal scorer. Plays it back to Dundas. Back to a keeper. Already India's got first of all. Anyone. Looked okay, but we were just waiting for Australia to score a goal. Right. So difficult. Because look at the Aussies. They're all taller, physically stronger. They are much more secure on the ball. So yeah, I can't blame them. But this is as good as it is that we've qualified for this level. But yeah, difficult. So we talk about football culture. Was not that clubs haven't tried. What do you think plays a major role in creating a football culture national team? Piyush, I don't know if the clubs really tried or if it's just happened. Oh, and that's a third for Australia. It's again Halmerick, and that's a hat trick for her. Too easy in the 48th minute for Australia. Ball comes to the striker. Prakash with the ball. And see, Prakash does well. Sulanjana can't beat her. And I think there was a deflection from Cindy, which makes the bounce awkward. No chance for Mona Lisa. It's India nil, Australia 3. And India now have to be careful not to get another thrashing. Almeric. Piyush, I don't know if the clubs really tried. I can say that in Mumbai City in the first year, we tried a few things. I had a few ideas, and I was allowed to try them out. And I think you see the end result that Mumbai has uh, um, done certain things. And the Blasters, Manjapara to me is a great, great story. I say that again and again. But again, I would at the moment criticize them and say, hey, how can you boycott your team in the biggest struggle that the club is going through? That is not football. And therefore, that is the lack of football culture, right? That is the lack of football culture. When a former player of yours comes to play against you, I said this to Ankush on Super Bowl Football in 2017. Wow, that's nearly a decade back now. Um, the Robin Singh incident, Robin Singh plays for East Bengal against BFC and he's abused by the BFC fans. I said, the guy won your titles, right? So these are some of the things, the behavior of people these days. Yeah, we have a lack of culture. It comes also from the fans. It's national. I don't know if again, national team theoretically will show you sort of pseudo nationalism, right? Uh, um, so um, therefore that's the thing. But football culture is Southeast Asia. You know, Southeast Asia has culture, right? But again, you're seeing a few hundred people turning up for these matches. India in attack, Sulanjana, yeah, but loses the ball, doesn't play the ball at some stage. And Australia now on the prowl. So therefore, we'll have to be careful. I think Australia is not better than Japan women's 20, but see who is better than whom when they face each other. Kumar, it's not a question of who is better than whom in the sense of Australia is much more direct. Japan plays football, and Australia has one thing which you see, which we're not. Um, there is no physicality to it, right? To me, the whole physical aspect to me is something which we can't cope with the Australians. Their football is not as sleek, as good as the Japanese, but they're overpowering us. Waiting to see if Joachim is also shown the exit door after Amelia. Let's see, Simon. I hope not, but could happen, but might also be a financial issue. Let's wait and see. FIFA accepted election to resume quota markets. Is that true? Yes, Kumar. Sinata Prakash in the box for Australia. Goes over. Avani Prakash, the Aussie OCI, Indian origin girl. Overcooked. Ball was over. The election has been postponed, Kumar, because in accordance to the new National Sports Governance Act, certain changes are needed, and then those have to be implemented, and then the elections will be held. Yeah. By the way, where's Ankush now? Super Football has completely gone silent. Study. No idea, Simon. Actually, I don't even see him on social media these days. Totally disappeared. Great guy, great. That was quality content production at the time, which to a large extent today we don't have. Not large extent, we don't have that, right? What Super Football used to produce, used to create in a positive way, a realistic way, also whenever needed to be critical, doesn't exist anymore. What did Lalimore says AIFF was that good enough for football development? Piyush, he suggested an IPL for football, nothing more, nothing less. And Mr. Rasmunchi didn't like the idea, so he didn't take it. Very simple. Joachim Alexanderson walking up and down, not happy till now, did not even abuse one single player in sport. There's a lot of the technical. Yeah, Kumar. As long as you don't abuse them personally, um, I feel it's fine. We can talk about they're not good enough in this, they're not good enough in that. Don't get personal, and that is the most important thing. But again, some of the players take it personally. That's another problem. The Aussies on attack. The Aussies in attack, and that's a fourth. It's Buttress. with a fourth. And India now have to be careful that this doesn't go the way it did for the senior women's team against Japan. Daniela Buttress from Melbourne City, 19-year-old. Daniela Khalid Buttress, born in Iraq, child of a refugee family. Those are some of these stories in this Australian team. Just places the ball. In India, fans are only passionate when they can say, yeah, go on, 100%. Right? And you're able to sell narratives and other things, right? The questions that need to be asked, and it's not just fans, it's the whole system. Having been in India earlier this week, yeah, it's disappointing. It's not a football problem, it's a general sports problem in India. I stopped watching after that penalty because I do not want to see horror with myself. Kumar, that's also wrong, right? How good, how bad it is, you have to watch it till the end. Foul on Kruger, and yeah, this tournament will be good exposure for U20 team. Aman, we always talk, oh, this is good exposure, that is good exposure. Where's the development? What is the value of exposure? What value did the under 17 World Cup have in regard to exposure for the boys or the girls? Right? Look at the standard we are. Right? Exposure is nice to have. This whole everyone exposure. Australia with a fifth. India clear. Shruti somehow clears. Hamerick nearly with her fourth and Australia's fifth. Yeah, too many goals, too short space of time, and then you fall apart. India have to be careful. Back in the box, the Aussies. The Aussies, and that's another foul. No, not given. Ball out attempt. And ooh, what was the contract from Capri? Aman, it's about IWL, IWL2 that they will try to commercially monetize that. Have they announced the new coach for senior team? No. Sasha, they haven't, but it's likely to be Crispin Shetty from what I hear. Again, the AIFF don't have budgets, right? So they'll stick amongst the people that they have. Prakash. Prakash plays it across. Australia on the left, ball into the middle. Oh, goes over. Trimis. Throw in India. Exposure without learning is waste. That did not seem to any results. Doesn't. Yeah, Kumar, again, exposure on one side is good, but the problem is, okay, against Buttress, yeah, that was a foul, I would have said. Lucky to get away, Pooja. The problem, Kumar, is what are we learning? What are we doing? And the problem is um, substitution for Australia. Triple substitution. Caesar, Bennett, O'Keefe are on. So Australia already doing game time management. Amongst others, Sullivan walking off. And to me, Poppy O'Keefe from Melbourne Victory, only 17 years old. Looks very young. Set to come on. She's waiting. Now she's on. Yeah, so that's the thing. Thanks, Kumar. Best example. We still are winless against the Tajik 20 since then, no matter what performance have kept worsening. Yeah, Sam. That's a problem. Throw in for India. 58 plus minutes. India on the left are not even getting out of their own half. The Aussies win the ball back again. Yeah, Thomas sorry, Thomas, I'm saying Joachim Alexander's song, will be very, very worried at this stage because India are not getting out of their defensive shape. Australia, Prakash, shot blocked. Yeah. Still Australia. Oh, foul on Prakash from Ling De Kim. And that was already a foul against Bortolicio. Now, second foul, third foul. And that's a fourth foul. Ling De Kim. Yeah, the referee is not. Yeah. Free kick to be taken by Trimis. Is she going to go direct or is she go indirect? No, she goes direct, but into the arms of Mona Lisa. India now have to keep surviving this phase. Difficult, I know. Very difficult, I know. But that's the challenge now. Australia have the ball back. I've read research done by Scottish Federation of Football Development. The page document. No, I haven't, Piyush. One of the biggest failure is lack of matches, consistent matches at grassroots and youth development that cannot do things with consistency because they cannot have consistency. For example, Indian players in ISL, one season is boom, another season is vanished. Yeah, yeah. Matches are important. What factors contribute to this is North Korea's women's teams? Aman, I actually don't know, right? Because I think, does anybody know? With North Korea, with such a close system that they are. Yeah, so, yeah, maybe military drill. I don't know. As I said, I don't know. There was zero chance of anything in this game. Almeric, Yunus, Prakash, Cesar, and Batuniswa are some of the best upcoming players in the league. Yeah, Sasha, they are. And the one of the girl will surely play in Europe very soon. Indiana Dos Santos is not even playing. She's one of the best players in the world. Yeah. I think principles suggested by Tom Bayer will work in Indian conditions. Piyush, Tom Bayer's approach can work. Question is, you have to Indianize, right? What Tom is saying, you have to Indianize, sort it out, realize. Because what works in the Northeast will not work in Calcutta. What works in Calcutta will not work in Goa or in that vice versa, not in Kerala and Mumbai. So you need to adjust the project. That's something. An India plan can, mistake by Dundas. Puja on the right. So therefore, Piyush, Tom's ideas can be a basis, can be a foundation. And then you have to, sort it out, localize. If someone wants to know the secret of North Korea football, will have to sacrifice their life. It is one-way ticket. Maybe Kumar, maybe not. Right? Others players playing in Premier League? No, none of their players play in Europe. But that is the core of Tom's work, understands that need to consider cultural impact. The problem is that geniuses won't listen to anyone. Yeah, but Tom, I remember at the time of Rob Barn, there were conversations, even, maybe a chance for India, no. Michael has the ball. That there were conversations regarding Tom and his way of looking at football in regard to development and other things. Prakash fouled. And yeah, and it's It didn't happen at the time, and I know there were some people said it was too complex, and yeah, that's the thing. India maybe with a chance to break. Can they get something out of this? No. Australia win the ball back. India win it back and throw in for Australia. And that's the core of Tom's work, and but he did come to India, right? And something happened in the system. No, no, nothing happened. Piyush. Tom, there were conversations, there were some ideas exchanged, but as far as I know, nothing concrete ever came of those sort of conversations. India building up. Asapi doing ISO report was technical director with big press conference saying a lot but zero execution. Kumar, it wasn't execution. It was that we didn't even get to the execution level. Isaac Duro raised a lot of points, basics, which anyone would say, but none of those things were looked at, right? So the problem is that when these foreigners come in and they tell you certain basic things, this is wrong, that is wrong, structurally flawed. And there's one topic that no one wants to touch, you know. So let's see. During Praful era, yeah, Kumar, it was. I haven't been too impressed with the left back as a trial at Betis. Yeah, very true. Very true. Sasha, you never know if these trials are real or if an agent is able to do it or if it's a PR stunt of Betis because FC Sevilla does a lot in India. You never know. I mean, there is no player I've seen from the Indian team, right, that could stand a chance in Europe. No one. Right. And we had players, I would have said 5, 7 years ago, were players. I mean, Bala played in Scotland. If it wasn't about work permit issues, I think we could have placed her in the second Bundesliga. But those things don't happen, right? So realities. Realities. India with the ball. Australia trying to play their way through. Played once it through, but Shruti in the way. Ball out. 65 plus minutes on the clock. Do you think you do not understand relative Indian football compared to Constant or Bob? Yeah, yeah. And I don't, nah, I wouldn't say he didn't. He did, but at some stage, the job became more of PR of his, right? I want to be seen as positive. Chance for India, maybe, no. It just got relegated to second tier now, got to get relegated to third tier now. Yeah, but then third tier in Spain, women's football will not be even semi-pro. So again, I don't think that the trial is going to bring anything at that level. India at the back, Tobisana, Shruti. Interesting that she's come on in place of Shubhangi, Cindy, Remy, Pooja. So it has to be improving current Indian league. Can we have something like B teams playing on 30, maybe like it happens here? Piyush, if at the moment I don't think so. It's been done in the past by the AIFF multiple times that in the second division league you had a B team of XYZ clubs in it. We need to develop a club culture. We need to have more clubs involved at the national level. So if we give away those spots for B teams, where are the spots then for the other teams, right? Anju coming off for India. Yeah. A lot of dejected faces. Arena coming on. And so to me, I don't think so. I don't think so. You often mention Gothia Cup. Who cares if they get some results in Dallas? Will you consider on this the different AFC? Nobody cares. Nobody cares. These cups, these tournaments are nice. These are friendlies. It has no value. What is the value? What value has had the under 17 World Cup for us from a football standpoint? Right? A player who didn't play in the under 17 World Cup was part of the squad. Apuya is now our best midfielder. So it does make sense. So that's the problem, right? Burkina Faso, yeah, happens. Murali. Teams from Islands allowed to play in age group Swedish regional leagues. Maybe something like that could work for us. Are you players playing slightly tougher and longer competition? Yeah. But where? That's the question. No? Who will take it? Who will fund it? Prakash intercepts. Australia with the ball. Played lovely through ball. That is a lot of space. Didn't do it well with the touch. Good save by Mona Lisa. Back with the Aussies. Yeah, Shruti has done well against Trimis, who was one of the biggest problems in the first half for the Indian team. Prakash. Do you think Kalyan Chaubey wanted to push election to December with lame excuse? One regime to reset as which after December new regime can change as a time. Kumar, uh, it is the way it is. Who cares? Honestly, why this way? Why that way? It is the way it is. There are structural things that need to be followed in regard to the sports code, which has not been implemented, and therefore just leave it at that. Americ going off. Fuller now coming on. And Brown, but Buttress also going off. 70 plus minutes. India nil, Australia 4. At least India have been able to keep the number of goals under control. Prakash, cleared by Sana. We India complain about quality and facilities when I look Senegal. I even get shocked they play barefoot even. They tape ball. Yeah, Morale. We find reasons of not doing the work. We want jugar, we want shortcuts, we want this, we want that. We don't do the right work. Indian sports fails because of that. Very simple. Fun would definitely be an issue, but it happens Asia too. The top club from Brunei playing in Singapore, and I think we're playing in Malaysian future. Sasha, that's a different thing, no? They're a neighbor. Brunei doesn't have a strong system. It's like the Liechtenstein doesn't have a league system, and their clubs play in Switzerland. You have that, right? But I don't think. Yes, no, they're not. Well, you've got China, you've got North Korea, South Korea in the mix. Yeah. Australia completely dominating the match, and they're fine with it. 4-0 after 5-0 against Giants Taipei. Cleared by India. Brown. They're toying with us. That's the problem at the moment. Australia, complete control of this game. And India doesn't know what to do to try and change that. I don't even see a hint of effort anywhere. Hope ke liye bhi initiation chahiye, and we don't even initiate. We are still Australia on the edge of the box. Blocked by Shruti. Sorry, let me start again. Piyush. I don't even see a hint of effort anywhere. Hope ke liye bhi initiation chahiye. Not even initiate. We are still trapped with 5-year-old cases, controversies. We improve. Piyush, as long as you don't get these people out of the system, it will be again, this myth, and Kumar, you mentioned Kalyan. If we remove Kalyan Chaube, but let the others in the system stay in the system, nothing will change. You need a systematic change of people in Indian football. Otherwise, we're going nowhere, right? Australia, that's offside. Second, doesn't matter in terms you can explain it. What I personally find they get good exposure will be interesting. You can challenge the ask up. Murali, what is the exposure? Where are these kids developing? What are they learning? Right? If you're playing inferior grassroots teams who are not even your level, what is the exposure? What is the exposure? What is the make-up exposure? You beat Liverpool 6-0. Is that exposure? Right? Was that even Liverpool? I mean, this what are we talking about? All of this is rubbish. These people are selling you narratives, ideas. Oh, we're doing this, blah, blah, blah. Listen, if you want to do proper development, come to me. I've done that. Right? When we did a proper plan for the under 70s with Nikolai Adam, there was a proper plan. Extended stays here in Germany, playing against quality academies, traveling the world, playing in tournaments in Brazil, in Russia, in the Middle East, in the Balkans. We played under 16s against a certain Erling Haaland, Norway. Got thrashed, but we played Erling, right? I don't know everything they did at the camp in Sweden, but they shouldn't play games in top academies. Roma, okay, Linköping, few games is no opposition. See, the question is, does it make sense to play always against the top academies, or does it make sense because they will be taken apart? So it's also a question of psychology. Bob Houghton used to always say that. Don't always play against strong opposition. Once in a while, play weak opposition because then you might get a winning, idea. So you mix it, right? 74 plus minutes, drinks break. Well, Gothia Cup is a youth tournament in Sweden, a summer tournament, what we call. "75 minutes now on the clock, and yeah, it's about to get you know replay of the goals and opportunities. India with nothing actually to say except that free kick from Anju. Australia just too good for us. Perhaps he could have prepared us for the tournament where Japan are camped in a half. Sasha, that's a conversation to have with Joachim Alexanderson. He thought differently. You might think differently. Every coach has a different approach on these things, right? Um, and he's worked with these girls, and let's see what and but again, it's the standard is so much higher at this level than Opala. Halmerick not walking cleanly won't make the Aussies happy. So therefore, I have to live with that. Sporting Good Ravens guy was a few minutes away. Yes, Mahesh, 2 more watch-alongs today on Arunfoot. First, of course, Sporting Club Delhi versus Kerala Blasters, the fight for survival in the Indian Super League. And then in the evening, Mumbai City Football Club versus Odisha FC. And there we will play for top position for Mumbai City. Yeah, Australia could have been 7-8-0 up. My analysis after watching the 2 games, this team has a problem with goalkeeper and defender. Same story of needless fouls in front of own box. Far more organized and technically better than seniors. Okay, Ochut, let me hear the rest. In our lifetime, can we see this in football like Christian World Cup and Super League as a football league? Kumar, no idea. Right? If the realities at the moment don't change, Kumar, don't think about your lifetime. Think about the lifetime of your kids, of your grandkids, of your, I don't know, next generation. Respect after 4-8 week league. Yeah, but even if I have a whole season league, the basics don't change, right? That's my problem. The basics are a problem, was a problem, is a problem, will be a problem. Even if you play football throughout the year, even if these girls play 40 games a year, the basic understandings which are not there will not change. So physicality helps. Yes, Anup, it does. right? We look at one thing I've not realized is that in the current generation, our players are getting shorter and shorter, right? Look at the physicality of the Australians. These girls are fit. They are sometimes a head taller than our girls, right? They are physically stronger. So yes, physicality helps. When is it? It won national champion. Sasha, don't compare that world with this world. Yeah, it's a different thing. With the new zonal conference, I doubt if we will even call for the stronger Bangladesh. Nepal will always above us. Simon, that's a problem. Yeah, very true. So I've heard from someone close that one or two kids have a strong chance of going to European club. First one, I wouldn't get transfer fees. Second, invest added to move there. Piyush, it's a PR story. If your parents are willing to move, right, um, to avoid an illegal transfer, it's illegal. It's an minus transfers is illegal. Let's be clear about that, right? And if that later on comes out that what had happened, right, then it's a problem because you see with the whole Kubo story, Barcelona getting a multi-year ban. So yeah, do it, right? This is all PR, right? Can Ashley Westwood do any magic today? Mahesh, let's wait and see. If you want to challenge playing match one team, you can remind if they beat them, they will make it 7. No, there isn't one. We need more players from northern India who are genetically taller, result of good grassroots. Prakash, the Aussie, said small physique, but look at the quality. Yeah, yeah. But she's playing football all year through, right, Uchut? So therefore, all these factors are there. Look at Japan. I think is a prime example to me about the physicality aspect. The Aussies in the middle. Yeah, a little too, luckily, too casual. Throw in. Prakash is Fijian. Yeah, but Fijian Indian, right? So Sasha, she does qualify as a somewhat Indian origin. Bangladesh is Indian. U20 is bound to happen. Sullivan brothers, any from an area in US, convinced to play for Bangladesh shows the intent of BFF, although dual national citizenship works in their favor. 100%, Uchu, but to convince, as you say, to convince the Sullivan brothers to go there, and play for Bangladesh, that's huge, right? So, realities. Nearly 81 minutes done. Any of your friends ask why you're supporting for nowhere? Known, morally, no. Yeah. Trying to stay alive in this game. All for India. We're very lucky today that the Aussies, Bhumika, jumps into a opponent rather. India's been very lucky, in my opinion, that the Aussies have, after 55 minutes, took the foot off the gas, didn't go all out. Otherwise, yeah. So sometimes um, that's also a factor. Yeah, on the right. The physical player are not in India or why be very weak, very less stamina. I know, but it's a good question. I don't know. I really don't know. Australia playing from left to right. Nice ball through. Can they avoid conceding a goal? Ooh. Sheamus can't get to it. Kevin Sullivan, the eldest, is already playing for US, youngest MLS scorer at 16. Yeah. at Philadelphia Union, and he's got a pre-contract at Manchester City, where he will join once he becomes 18. Does the best third place team apply here? Only top two go through. No, third place, 2 out of the 3, because again, it's 12 teams in this competition. 8 are needed for the quarterfinals. So the top 2 in each groups of the 3 groups go through, and the 2 out of the 3 best third place teams go through. So for India, the problem is India has a minus 10 goal difference, and that will be a problem. So even if we beat Chinese Taipei, we look to be out at the moment. But looking at this, you have to convince me. Oh, maybe India with a chance here to break. On the right, Bhumika with a cross, and Shivani heads it away from Ling Dae Kim. Yeah, would have been better to leave it. It will be, I guess, one of India's 2-3 chances in this game. Dundas. Intercepted by Shruti. Shruti. Prakash steals. Australia calmly play from right to left. Throw in Australia. Remy with the final touch. What a major fault you find with this tournament, like Kothia Cup you mentioned. Morai, it's not a fault. These are friendly tournaments. These are fun tournaments. Weirdly in India, and it's not since today. There used to be, Mayor's 11 used to go in the 80s from Kolkata and the 90s also, right? Mayor's 11, IFA Mayor's 11. And they're fun tournaments, right? So we take them seriously. Do you think this Capricorn was good, or could it have been better? There is no one else. Oh, avoid India, and goes over. There's no Aman. There's no one else who came forward. So I'm happy that they come. They've come forward. Thanks for pointing this out. Sasha says Uchud stay with South Indian genes. She, meaning Prakash, physically weaker than teammates, but makes up her quality. Yes. Remy, avoiding. Swimming team has done some bigger tournaments. Yes, Morali, I have. I missed a lot of the game, but the number 6 for us looks the only one with some understanding of what to do. She's scanning, often playing 2-touch, using layoffs, etc. Yeah. And these bash cards. Morali, watch this game and then I think I say. Yeah, that's the problem. I've also heard a lot of coaches, including Joachim Samasa, who say Indian players don't know how to play third man. Sasha, they don't know a lot of these things, and that is, I think, a big concern for Indian football. And yeah, let's wait and see. Australia trying to ensure their victory, and hopefully India intercept. Important by Remy. But Apostolakis. Australia play the ball out. Fuller. It looks to me that Australia are fine. If they by any chance score another one, they'll take it. But otherwise, they will keep this victory. They'll take this 4-0. Oh. Bhumika. And we're screwed, then third one is modern football. Yeah. Yes, theoretically it's elite level, Morally, but again, as I said, tournaments are tournaments. They're not leagues. They're not, you know, competitions per se. So therefore, and they're played over a short period of time, right? So you play multi matches. So now has played countless matches for India, but this is the maximum quality. And what that physique, you will never succeed in national football. She can't even reach the opponent box. Or should reality, but who's going to tell that, right? And look at Avana Prakash, right? She's not taller. She's, as you said, as Sasha's pointed out as well, right? She's not bigger. She's as big or small. She's actually slimmer even as some of the Indian girls. But she's able to twist and turn. Look at her movements. She knows what she's doing. And forget, it's not a women's team, girls problem. It's but the men's is no different. Everyone, everywhere India is fair in lack of system. Yeah, it's a lack of system. It's a lack of development, sadly, and it's very difficult as Australia try and play their way forward. Throw in for the Aussies. Cindy Conley as a captain in the second half. Nice ball forward. Ooh, that's gonna go out. Goal kick for India. In the last few seconds of regulation time, as it is India 0, Australia 4. Five minutes of added time. They win the ball back. Akash. Nice little twist and turn. And corner for India. Someone mentioned the goalie problem. I see it in the ISN mentioned they're not modern keepers. We should look to bring in some Finnish goalie coaches. They're the best in the world. Header goes wide. Yeah. Sasha, Finnish, Swedish, Norwegian, German. You can bring in a strong leader, team running AIFF everywhere in the football field. Yeah. Or please educate our coaches. Yes, if any club will ask, would you advise? Well, we're not going to get invited. I think a Bangladesh select team went there and conceded, I think, 35 goals in 3 games. So I think we can get better in 5-6 years. I hope so, but looking at this, no. Well, thanks to Alexanderson, Coach Alexanderson trying his bit for the last few years. Yes, Ushut, he tried it. Thomas Dennerby tried it. And Thomas Dennerby, I think, was successful to a certain level, has to be honest. But this is difficult, right? And if in Alexanderson, I can see it in his face, disappointed with his team. What much more to add? Australia once more. Throw in for India. It's when you have to say that losing by this result is actually success, then you know where the problem lies, right? So yeah. Which batch women do you find some spark to? Morally, it's not about batch. Morally, it's about in the past we were producing better footballers, and at the moment, my concern is if I see this, my question would be, where is there's a lack of quality, and that to me is my concern, right? So I don't know. It's very difficult. very difficult. And I don't see the talent. There is a complete lack of talent at the moment. We're hyping. Oh, the Aussies come through and score a fifth. In the end, Brown, substitute Brown with a fifth. And that makes India's goal difference even a little worse. 0-5 for the young Aussies. It could have been much worse. That is what I'm reminding everybody of, if you like it or not. Intercepts. And men's is the only person of India's recent players over the last 20 years. I would say so, Achut. Yeah. I don't know if I agree with you there. Didn't see Baladevi at Rangers than a gimmick, but I could be wrong. It wasn't a gimmick, Sasha. So if you are given the number 10 jersey at Glasgow Rangers, if you are playing, Glasgow Rangers wants to extend your contract but can't, right, due to regulations, that is not a gimmick. And to me also, Women's Asian Cup, Bala Devi is someone who I should have taken along, fit or not, right? Gives you something. But what I've seen here in Finnish women's football is the coaching is getting better, which means the younger players are better. Yeah, should be. But, it's India maybe with 1-5 move. Now Australians steal the ball, play it through. India take it away. Yeah, but she still got Sasha. She wasn't always playing as a starter, and that's the final whistle. Only solution, OCI says, oh, yes. And that's the end of it. 5 goals for the Aussies, 0-5 for India. And in the end, I think a deserving result for the Aussies. They were much, much better than us. And another heavy defeat for the Indian women's national team at the Under-20 Women's Asian Cup. With that, I'll come to an end for this live, and I'll see you back in half an hour for the match between Sporting Club Delhi versus the Kerala Blasters in the Indian Super League. And with that, I'll leave you and see you later.